Okay, hello, welcome back to the studio. If you don't know me, my name is Leah and I'm a collage artist. This is part 2 of my travel junk journal, and let me just tell you, it has been so rewarding to go back and make this after my trip as well as during the trip. It gave me a little side quest on my vacation to collect as many cool things as I could. Regularly, I put these into a memento box and I basically never look at them again, but now I'm going to make them into a beautiful book that I think I will be able to cherish forever. If you haven't already, go check out part 1 so that you can see all the amazing ventures that are behind these pages. We still have a ton of adventuring to do, so I'm super excited to do this today. Let me teleport you back to our Chiang Mai day trip adventure. These are extravagant contemporary art pieces. They are nothing short of absolutely beautiful and so detailed. I'm not gonna lie to you that the Black House was very strange. It had a lot of dead animals and then this one little cow there to show where the horns came from. Thought that was a little bit weird, but let's make the page for it, and I want to make this page a little bit weird to reflect that. Something really cool about these pieces though is that the artist actually made them interactive art pieces, so you could put an Instagram filter on them and they would kind of come to life and have a little song with them. There were so many artworks everywhere that I really wanted to show that in this piece. I've been around the world, I've seen artists' homes, and I've never seen one quite like this. It was dark and creepy, but then there were just so many artworks, you could just tell that this artist lived here and worked really hard to make all the art that he made. It was a large property with many homes, and I just wondered how long some of these pieces took to make. It got me thinking about if I had bought a property and literally had no technology and just did art for an entire lifetime, how much art could I possibly make? I've introduced this little tool on some of my market vlogs, but not here. This is the Canon Ivy. It's a small printer for 2x3 stickers. It's great for my business, and now I get to use it for my personal use. Now we're moving on from contemporary art and launching ourselves into the jungle. The first thing I booked after confirming I was going to Thailand was an elephant journey because I love elephants. They're probably pretty high on the list of animals that people love, but for me it was just something that I needed to see them in person. So we signed up for a multi-day jungle trek and we weren't really sure what to expect, and we ended up hiking through the mountains and living with an indigenous tribe in their small village. After a long trek we got to go swimming in this waterfall. I was shocked by how simple and beautiful life could be. As we hiked, our guide picked things from all over the jungle, and that was our dinner. And the view from our cabin was spectacular. I had luckily grabbed this pamphlet from a spa, but it had this beautiful jungle image in it, so it was perfect for this page. And before I arrived, my friend grabbed me some postcards and luckily got me one with an elephant. I wanted to keep this page simple and calm, since that's the vibe that I really felt the entire time I was there. The culture of these villages were so sharing. Every time the crops were ready, they would go help each other out in harvesting them in time and then split the profits. Everyone shared every single job. Of course, my favorite one was getting the elephants from the forest for their morning breakfast. The people of this village only work 2 to 4 hours a day, and then they have a lot of leisure time where they just talk and hang out. There's no bills to pay, so that's just as simple as life can get. I wanted to include a photo of us with the elephants, and then this phrase that was hung on a tree in the forest that said, "Relax, nothing is under control." I still had a lot of material from Chiang Mai, and this piece really looked like the mountainous background that we had. So I wanted to include my National Museum ticket and a couple other pieces. The city was surrounded by mountains, so this is a perfect piece for this. After returning from our jungle trek, we had one more night, and it just happened to be their street market night, which is on Sunday, and that was really incredible to attend. We said goodbye to our house in Chiang Mai and then flew to Phuket. For this transition page, I decided to draw a little picture of Thailand. It's kind of a weird shape, so I did my best with it, and I just wanted to use this as a point to show how far we traveled for this one. Geography was never my strong suit, but I did my best to make the shape as close to it as I could. We are interrupting this program to tell you about flanzella.com. If you're watching this and you're loving it, you can go check out my website and purchase a print from me from flanzella.com. I really appreciate the support and hope to make your home look beautiful. And now back to the video. In Phuket, we decided to stay at a resort so that we could enjoy the beaches. They are stunning there, and they're surrounded by beautiful little islands that are mountainous with jungle. And this beach was full of hermit crabs, which was super cool for me. I know others wouldn't enjoy this. I had a pet hermit crab growing up, so it really reminded me of that. Given how little I could find on this part of the trip, I just found these 3 brochures. I definitely knew that this part was going to be challenging. However, somehow these trips really did cover a lot of the things that we ended up doing. This page was simplistic, but it included the map of where we traveled to by boat, and we went to this amazing snorkeling area, so I wanted to include all the beautiful coral. And yeah, it's pretty simple, but it does remind me of exactly where we went. Nowhere in the world makes me happier than a beach, so this was just a very lovely chapter of our trip. On the day I'm trying to represent, we did so many things. I knew I had to pack this book full of things. We went to lookout points, went to a very sacred space, saw the big Buddha, and then we also went to a cashew factory all within just the morning. Oh, and saw the old Phuket, which is a very beautiful place. And again, that was only in the morning. It was really interesting to see that the Big Buddha was still under construction. This was a newer project, so it's not as ancient as it looks. Wat Chalong is one of the most famous ones there, and it is a very sacred space. The idea is that you make a prayer, and if your prayers are answered, you come back later on and you get to set off some firecrackers in this really interesting little hut. The rule is, though, if you make a wish, you have to come back to thank the gods, and I didn't really want to come back, so I didn't. It wasn't till the afternoon till we went to Patong Beach. I got a tattoo. I didn't really know what to expect at this beach, and I really thought that it was going to be a very small town beachy area, but it was kind of like a nightclub everywhere. So I decided this was a good place to get a tattoo, and I saw these frogs with umbrellas everywhere, so I wanted one as a tattoo. We were really surprised that our driver stopped at one point, and we were confused as to why, and she just told us to cross the street, and we didn't know what we were going to see. And there was just this area full of monkeys, and they had babies, and they had these buckets that you could buy and feed them. This monkey is from a later part of our trip, but they were just simply everywhere, and the Big Buddha was supposed to have them, but we never saw them, which made this so special because we really thought that we weren't going to be able to see them. We are now taking a trip from Phuket to Malaysia. At first we hadn't intended to stop here, but our flight was actually cheaper from Malaysia, and we decided to go a couple days early to check it out. We just decided to stay close to where our flight was coming into, which was Kuala Lumpur, and it's a massive city of 8 million people. This city is extremely vertical as well. It's very packed with buildings, and I'd never seen buildings this big before. So I wanted to make it look like there was different layers to the city, and there's also a lot of greenery, so I wanted to include that, and these pictures were going to be perfect in helping me make that. And since this was an established city versus a tourism space, it was extremely hard to find material for this. Luckily at this point we're nearing the end of our journey, so I was able to use all the leftover pieces and know that I wouldn't need them for other areas. I really thought that I lived in a big city, but being here was insane. There were just levels to malls that I never knew could possibly exist. So one day we decided to walk into the mall to beat the heat and saw that there was a movie theater, so we decided to see Barbie, and these were the chairs we sat in. There was definitely a lot of culture shock when it came to going from literal jungle to a very big city. And both of us on the trip were kind of hitting a point where we just wanted to be home. We really tried to make the most of it because this place was just simply incredible. One thing that I could not have predicted is how incredible the Batu caves were. Located just outside the city are 400 million year old caves, and within those caves they've built temples. Since Malaysia is a Muslim state, I really assumed that they would be Muslim, but when we got there we found out that they're actually Hindi temples, and that this is the only cave temple outside of India, and it's a sacred place for them. So instead of being in Malaysia, I really feel that we got a little taste of India. Besides the temples, we also paid to go into this cave villa, and we weren't really sure what to expect. And when we got there, we got to see a dance show. There was an art gallery with cave art, and it was really cool. And like an entire petting zoo with like hundreds of animals. On the way in, they asked if we wanted fish food, and we were like, sure. And then we looked down, and there were so many fish in this pond. And below those ones, there were gigantic ones that I've never seen before, the size of me. Oh, and I forgot to mention that peacocks are sacred, so they were walking the grounds and they owned the place. People were afraid of them because they were coming at them to keep their grounds. Also, when I was walking into a temple, a man came up to me and grabbed my arm and wrapped a bracelet around it, and he blessed my business, is what he told me. He said that he can feel that I have a business and that it needs to do well, and he gave me the bracelet and told me not to take it off till after I achieved my goals. So I'm going to be wearing that till Flancella pops off. Kuala Lumpur has their famous twin towers, so I wanted to include those, so I printed those off in a sticker, and we also visited the aquarium. The benefit of going to this aquarium was that we had gone snorkeling, so we were able to learn about all the fish that we had seen. I also wanted to include the monkey for the caves and that they were all over the city. Now, last but not least, we forgot to make the cover. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but as soon as I saw the tiger print kind of sticking out, I knew that that was kind of cool since Thailand has tigers. Some of these papers were definitely not for my trip. I used some of my patterned papers that I've collected, but they had the right feeling. And when I was there, I bought stamps, but I forgot to send them when I was in Thailand, so I decided to use one on the cover and then just write out the word Malaysia for the bottom part. I had cut out the Malaysia shape, and I thought that this made like a really interesting geographic cover, and it looks like geography without being too much. And then I just wrote the dates I was there on the back of the cover. Don't mind my messy studio, but I'm really excited to take you through the finished version of this. I did a couple things to this off camera after finishing the junk journal, and I just really wanted to show you them because I think they have a really special touch to them that I think other people might want to include in their junk journals for traveling. So with that, let's do the final reveal. So this is a journal after all, so I decided to write down how I decided to go on this trip in the very front of it. As I said in the previous video, I made a promise to my friend to meet her halfway in Thailand before she moved back to Canada from New Zealand. Although I didn't find as much papers as I would have liked to, I think that the final result is great, and the color scheme really goes well together and captures the colors of Thailand. In such a short period of time, I've designed 26 pages of this, which is crazy because usually with my junk journal, I just do one a day, but this one I really flew through it. I'm really proud of myself because a lot of projects like this I will leave half done, but this one is complete and I will be able to have it on my shelf, and if someone wants to hear about my travels, I can just pop it out and tell them about the good old days in Thailand. If my memory gets foggy over the years, I have a little diary in the back that tells me everything I did on every single day, so that I'll be able to hold this trip close to me all the time. I think this is a really great idea, and I really hope that you were inspired to use this for your next trip. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not already, please subscribe, please like this video, and if you have any questions, comment them down below. I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.